Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Daviess County Fiscal Court to order. This is our first meeting of March in March 2025. Today is March 6, 2025. And Commissioner Marksberry, would you mind opening with a prayer and the pledge?
Thank you, Judge. If you would stand with me, please. Our gracious Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day and for the promise of spring right around the corner, even though we're experiencing the cold weather yet again. We know you make all things new and that you can change hearts and make them new as well. And so we ask that anyone who is hurting or having difficulty at this time, that you would grant them your peace that passes our understanding in their time of need. And please continue to bless our county and our elected officials who try to lead us in the right direction. I pray your will to be done for us in our county and through us, as you have placed us all in this position for such a time as this. May we have an attitude of gratitude and a servant's heart. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Marksberry. Brooke, first item.
1, consideration for presentation. A, proclaim March of 2025 as Social Work Month.
Commissioner Caslen, if you'd read this one.
Yes, Judge. Whereas this year's Social Work Month theme is Social Work, Compassion plus Action, embodies the fact that social workers go through years of education and training, so they have the skills and expertise to transform their care for others into action that brings positive results. And whereas social workers have helped this nation live up to its values by successfully advocating for equal rights for all people, no matter their race, sex, ethnicity, or religion. And whereas social workers follow a code of ethics, which sets as the primary mission of the social work profession the enhancement of human well-being and meeting the basic human needs of all people, with particular attention to the needs and empowerment of those who are vulnerable, oppressed, and living in poverty. And whereas the social work profession is one of the fastest growing professions in the United States, with more than 800,000 people expected to be employed as social workers by 2033. And whereas social workers are the forefront of pressing issues our nation is addressing, including increased needs for mental health care, especially for children and adolescents, substance use disorder treatment, and economic challenges. And whereas social workers continue to stand ready to assist our nation in overcoming the present and future challenges, including ending violence, improving health care, and improving mental health care for all, and urging lawmakers to adopt appropriate reforms. Now, therefore, in recognition of the numerous contributions made by America's social workers, I, Charlie Caslen, Daviess County Judge Executive, and the Daviess County Fiscal Court do hereby proclaim the month of March 2025 as Social Work Month, and call upon all citizens to join in the celebration and support the social work profession. Presented in Daviess County on the 6th day of March 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we have Dr. Wright from Brescia here to accept this. If you come forward and we'll present this, and if you could make a few comments. Right here. And then we'll come out and have a picture made. Okay, all right.
Judge Caslen, County Commissioners, elected officials, everybody in this room, I am a social worker, and it is an honor to receive this proclamation of March as Social Work Month. But the credit really goes to the social workers in our country and in this room. And if you are a social worker, I'd like to ask you to raise your hand. As you all know, we meet people where they are. We're there on the street corners, we're in their homes, we're in the schools, we're in the hospitals. We are there wherever they may need us. We're in the child welfare system for those families and kids. We provide more mental health services than any other profession in the country, and we do it because we believe in it. And we're going to keep doing it. Brescia University has been providing social work education for 30 years, since 1995. We have almost 1,000 graduates. And we do it because we believe in it, and we're going to keep doing it. So you just need to know that it is very meaningful to receive this proclamation in support of all the people out here and in this room and across the world that provide social work. We change lives, and we keep doing it because we believe in it. So I want to thank all of you in this room who are social workers for changing this world for a better place. You're doing it, and we thank you for doing it every day and every way that you do it. So thank you for this proclamation. As I said, it means more than you know. Thank you to all of you for all that you do. It really, we appreciate for your support, and just know we're here with you to make this world a better place.
Amen.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the work you all do. Anyone else? Commissioner Condor.
If I could, please. My wife Rosemary used to be with CASA,
Yes.
advocate for children, which she dealt with social workers every day, and our children, and in events and places to where people just lived a very hard life. And they look to each one of these individuals that are sitting here, those individuals that are social workers, to help, to be their angels, to rescue, to give comfort, to give hope and love to. That I saw every day she was there for almost 5 years, whenever she did it. And sometimes it's heartbreaking, isn't it? It truly is heartbreaking. But yet they look to you to mend that heart. So from my personal standpoint, and especially for my wife's, thank you for all you do and all you will do. It is appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else?
Yes, Judge, thank you. As a retired police officer, I want to say thank you as well. Seeing what social workers would go through and the times that we would be called to assist or something, it seemed like it was always well beyond time that the police were needed. But to go into what they would go into every day and have to have that and deal with it the way that they did and still come out with the attitudes. I can never understand how somebody could continue to do it that way and be that compassionate all the time, but I saw it consistently, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I just want to say I know you all save lives and you give hope, and I thank you for that. And you've been a blessing to this community.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I thought what I'm about to say was accurate, but you said Brescia's been offering degrees for 30 years. But
That's true.
I thought my oldest sister graduated from Brescia, and I thought she had a degree in social work. I know she went into the field, and I'm 63. She's 11 years older than me, and so you've been pushing out good graduates for a long time, but I thank you for the work you do as well.
Thank you.
And I remember even as a youngster hearing some of the tales that she would, just clients that she assisted. And anyway, it's heartbreaking. But thank you. Someone. It's good that we have the field of study, and the people that are willing to serve in that capacity. I was surprised when I saw the proclamation when Brooke first brought it to me, and it said that it's one of the fastest growing professions in America, and that certainly drives home the need. So
Yes.
thank you. If you don't mind, we'd like to come out and get our picture taken.
Just know your words fill our cup. We thank you.
Next item, Brooke.
B, Executive Order Number 03-2025, Declaration of a Local State of Emergency, February 21st of 2025.
This is a presentation, so we won't be voting on it. Mr. Johnson?
The Judge Executive is granted authority by KRS 39A.100, Section 2, to declare the county to be in a state of emergency, such to activate the Local Emergency Operations Plan, empower the Daviess County Emergency Management Agency to effectively manage the event, and waive procedural formalities that are otherwise required for the county to respond to the event. Declarations of this nature also open potential avenues for the county to recuperate unbudgeted and unforeseen cleanup costs that occur in the wake of an emergency. Presented is the declaration for February 21st, 2025 for the flood event. As a note, executive orders that do not require action by the legislative body appear under consideration for presentation as an update to the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Brooke, next item.
C, Daviess County Fiscal Court Audit Report, fiscal year ending June 30th of 2024.
Again, this is a presentation, so we won't have a vote. Mr. Johnson?
We've received the audit report for the year ended June 30th, 2024, in time for our disclosure requirements and compliance with KRS 64.810. Its availability will be advertised in the newspaper pursuant to KRS 91A040 and with respect to KRS 424145. The full audit report will be hosted on our website in the Document Center. The audit was conducted by the State Auditor of Public Accounts. To summarize the report, the audit states we were in compliance with the Commonwealth of Kentucky's regulatory basis of accounting and budget laws. The audit is clean with the opinion unmodified. There were no financial statement findings or question costs, and all money is accounted for and was recorded and reported appropriately for all funds.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, so we can all breathe a sigh of relief, right? All right, good job, sir.
2, consideration for approval. A, minutes of February 20, 2025, Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Are there any, we've all had the minutes for some time to review. Do we have any, are there any comments, additions, deletions, or corrections?
I have a comment, please.
Go ahead, Commissioner Marksberry.
Okay, I just want to say the reason that I questioned Mark Marsh about the hospital delivering babies at the last meeting is because 70% of rural hospitals across the country have stopped doing this. And I know this is becoming a problem across Kentucky. I just wanted to reiterate that our hospital is still delivering babies and there has been no reduction in their level of service. Thank you.
Thank you. You got a motion and a second. Anyone else on comments?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. We've all had the a list of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court for a few days. If there's no concerns, any questions, so I'll ask all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
C, second reading of KOC 921.685, 2025, 02-2025, an ordinance amending text in Article 8 of the Owensboro Metropolitan Zoning Ordinance.
Mr. Burley, you want to read the whereases or?
Sure. Thank you.
This is the one that should be in your binder.
Yes, sir. I think the whereas clauses on this one are identical to the one that's in the binder. I had trouble finding it, but whereas on January 9, 2025, the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission held a public meeting and adopted by regulation zoning ordinance text amendment to Article 8 of the zoning ordinance. Whereas the official transcript of the proceedings at said meeting, including the evidence presented and recommendations of the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission, have been filed with and considered by the Daviess County Fiscal Court and is hereby reference incorporated. And whereas the Daviess County Fiscal Court has carefully reviewed the amendment and finds that the amendment is in conformity with community directions and its amendment, and further finds that the amendment meets the requirements of state law, now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of the County of Daviess, Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Thank you, and I failed to ask for a motion or a second. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. But this time I would like, I know we took comments from the public at the last meeting, and what I'd like to do is, I know at the last meeting we also had a moratorium that was passed by virtue of a resolution. Commissioner Condor made a point of pointing out that that did not carry the force of law. So I would like to amend this ordinance to include the portions of the part of the resolution that had the moratorium language. And the only change I would suggest on that moratorium language is that it would run, instead of saying it's for 12 months, that we would state that it would run, the moratorium would be in place until March 1 of 2026. And Counselor, just for before I take a second, do you mind reading the language that you and I had discussed as far as the moratorium language, or do you want me to read that?
No, I don't mind doing it.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is the proposed,
Just the moratorium portion at the bottom
Yes,
of the
sir.
page.
so it would be section 4 of the ordinance. A temporary moratorium shall be in place until March 1st, 2026, to adequately make the changes as indicated herein. Number 2, the Board of Adjustments shall not accept, process, or approve any applications for conditional use permits associated with the installation and business of wind and/or solar energy for the installation and business of wind and/or solar energy. And number 3, the Planning and Zoning Commission shall not accept, process, or approve any applications for a zone change, conditional use permit, preliminary plat, or final development plan associated with the installation and business of wind and/or solar energy for the installation and business of wind and/or solar energy.
Thank you, Counselor.
Yes,
So I've made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on Commissioner Condor? This would be discussion on amending the ordinance.
Correct, and Judge, I was handed this 2 minutes before the meeting, and we had talked about it before. There's one piece that it references an Exhibit A. I don't seem to see an Exhibit A. Does anybody?
Exhibit A is the original Exhibit A that was attached to the original ordinance. It's unchanged, other than what you were handed references Exhibit A, because the original ordinance references Exhibit A.
So for clarification, when it states behind /59, that section of 8-14 states solar energy systems, SES, shall comply with the following criteria, which is referenced in the ordinance change that you have here, which then you will insert what the county judge or county attorney has just read.
That's
in
correct.
behind that. Is
That
that
is
correct?
correct, yes.
And that is the only changes that we are making, or as an amendment to the zoning, the solar ordinance, correct?
That's the only change that's on the table right now.
Very good.
Judge, I would like to make an additional motion.
We need to vote on this first. We need to. Are there any other comments from the fiscal court? Then I will ask for Brooke call the roll on amending the motion as was read.
Judge Executive Caslin,
Yes.
Commissioner Condor,
Yes.
Commissioner Marksberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Caslin.
Yes.
So the motion to amend has passed. So at this point, are there any further amendments to be
Will
proposed?
this be the time for my amendment? Okay. I would like to make an additional motion to amend the ordinance so that any and all reference setbacks that were included in that first reading of the text amendments be changed to 1,000-foot setbacks.
Any second? I've got a motion. Any second?
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the court on this item? Brooke, if you'd call the roll.
Judge Executive Caslin,
Yes.
Commissioner Condor,
No.
Commissioner Marksberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Caslin.
Yes.
So the motion to amend passes 3-1. At this point, are there any other amendments anyone would like to propose? Any other comments? This is where we take from the court. Any comments about the motion, the ordinance, before we vote on the ordinance?
Judge, you might, if there's no other comments, you might need to make or ask for a motion, or you could make it to pass the ordinance as amended.
Okay.
I think we discussed that.
Do you want to read I think when you read earlier, you'd left out that section 2.
I did. I can read the whole thing, or just read section 2 again.
Just add that section 2 to make sure we've included that.
Yes, sir. So section 2 will now read, a copy of the amendment is attached and marked Exhibit A for identification and are the same as though written here in full, with the exception of /quote 59, which will have the moratorium language identified in section 4 below, which I read, inserted after the word, quote, criteria, end quote, which appears in the heading beginning, quote, /59, end quote.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And we already had, so you think I need a motion? I don't think so, because
You-
we already had the motion second. We've
I think you're
amended it,
fine.
and we've already got the motion.
Yes, sir.
So we will now have the vote on the ordinance as amended with both amendments attached. So Brooke, if you'd call the roll.
Judge Executive Caslin,
Hold it. Commissioner Condor, you got,
If I could, for clarification, if you
Yes,
want to
sir.
get to my vote, I'd like to explain my vote, please.
go ahead.
Go ahead right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just to clarify some issues as far as this particular business venture is concerned. Okay? When we talk about power itself, this power that is to be generated potentially by the solar field, where does it go? Who's it sold to? Some may think, well, it's being sold to Pennsylvania. That's wrong. Physically, the power stays within Daviess County. It will stay within MISO, the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator. And what is that? That's a large regional electric grid operator that manages power throughout the middle part of the United States, reaching from Tennessee all the way up into Canada. Now, just to give a little bit of clarity, my business trade, I'm a natural gas broker. I buy and sell natural gas physically and financially. That's my actual thing I know how to do, except for taking the trash out. And I've said that several times before. So to give an idea of what that means, why does that matter? What it matters, just for clarification, is we do it now with the landfill gas, for example. That gas is produced out of the landfill, goes into a pipeline, natural gas pipeline, but it's sold on paper to an entity out of Calgary, Canada. There's not one little pipeline that goes all the way to Calgary, Canada. It is just on paper, they view themselves as buying it. Same thing happens with power. Same thing. So the power generated itself stays within this area to the least, or to the area where it's going to go to. So that misconception, hopefully, is cleared up in that way. Somebody even put it this way. I'm going to sell somebody in New Orleans and get 5 gallons of water. Well, I'm going to go down, fill my bucket up, 5 gallons of water, pour it in the Ohio. At the exact same time, the guy in New Orleans is going to get 5 gallons of water and take it out. Is it the same molecules you put in? No, it's not. But the principle is basically there, okay? Now, just to make sure everyone else clarifies, for MISO, there have been 3 entities that have filed for a solar farm. 3 with MISO. Not necessarily here with OMU, Big Rivers, or anyone else. That's with the grid operator. We know 2 of them. Don't know who the 3rd one is, but there probably are more. And why is that important? It's very important from an economic development standpoint. I know for a fact that in Bowling Green, there were two large industrial customers that were going to be employing well over 400 people in total, that they were told no. Don't have the power for it. I believe that in time we're going to be in that same circumstance, that if we were to have someone come into this place, into Daviess County, and want to have whatever business and needed power over a long period of time, you don't have it. That doesn't mean solar is going to be able to give all that, because it won't. The sun doesn't shine every day, and it doesn't. Just part of your portfolio, part of the basket to provide power. So the warning is out there. And I understand that by 2030, we will be in dire straits when it comes to power if we don't build other sources of electricity. It's coming. You're about to see OMU raise your rates almost 18%. It's coming. Be prepared for why. So these discussions are not just concentrating on this business model. It's bigger than that, much bigger than that, and it's long term. Power companies, 5 years is short term. Most of the time they're on a 30-year program. And I shoot this warning out there to everyone right now that what you're about to see from OMU, from our other areas, that we will be short power. How is that going to be built out? Whether it be trying to do some coal, nuclear, mini nukes, whatever the case may be, you got to evaluate every bit of it. Because if we don't, I don't want to be similar to the way the Northeast is sometimes, where you're freezing to death in the dark. Just make sure you're aware. So I bring all that up just to make sure we do these things correctly, not only for our farmers, but all abating property owners through these type of projects. It matters. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else wish to speak before we vote?
Yes, Judge, I'd like to. Commissioner Connor, thank you for the explanations, as you are a residential expert on how the power system works with that. And in that, it's also necessary to make sure that as the commissioners and representatives of the public, that we do what's best for the future as well. Sometimes that is taking that pause like we're doing, reevaluating the circumstances that we have. Not against solar at all, I'm for it as well, but also when it affects all the neighbors of the areas the way that they do, it's necessary for us to step back and look at it and make sure we're using the right processes to do what we're doing.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marksberry.
Thank you. I agree with both Larry and Chris and their assessments, but I just wanted to say that, I'm for private property rights as well, but if those rights start to impede on your neighbor, then that gives me pause, and we have to step back and look at what's happening. And I'm not questioning Commissioner Condor at all, but I just want to let the public know, I really don't think that by us doing this today, it's going to affect your OMU bill at all. So don't be worried about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. This has been for me, this has been a frustrating journey, and we're not through with the journey. I believe we're only starting it, but we are making some changes. As I said at the first reading, I felt like my hands were tied when I came up with the initial language that was presented in the text amendments. Ultimately, I'll say they've been untied, and so we've got different language that we're voting on in just a moment, and I look forward to continued dialogue on this topic going forward. I've had a conversation with both Lester Morales, who's with NextEra, and also with Mike Sullivan, who represents the other solar company, and I apologize for not remembering y'all's name. Hillstone, thank you. And the reality is, I proposed to both of them that in the coming weeks that I'll call a work session, and a special called meeting, and we'll have a work session. We'll be open to the public. I would invite the public to submit questions to us and we will pose, the court will pose, members of the court will pose them to either Hillstone or NextEra representatives if they wish to be present and answer those for the public. And then we can see where we go forward after that. So that would be the next step that I would propose. And with that, Brooke, if you would call the roll.
Judge Executive Caslin,
Yes.
Commissioner Condor,
No.
Commissioner Marksberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Caslin.
Yes.
Thank you, Brooke. And I want to thank those who have reached out to me. I know each one of us, each member of the court has had a slew of contacts from citizens, from farmers, as well as neighbors. And I appreciate the dialogue, and we'll continue the dialogue going forward. Next time, Brooke.
D, Benefit Advisory Services Agreement with Hub International Midwest Limited.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson.
We have utilized Hub International, which was previously Peel and Holland, for several years as an advisor for employee benefits and insurance placement services. This agreement is for them to continue to provide general support and assistance, including employee education during open enrollment, assistance with ACA reporting requirements, and assistance to human resources for advisement in several areas. They review proposals to the court from other agencies for coverage and analyze our current KHP plan as it relates to other options to keep the court apprised of opportunities, if any. The annual fee is $12,000. Their services have been largely beneficial to the county, and their proposed rate is unchanged from the prior year. I would recommend your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
E, renew the following bids. Bid number 20-2022.3, concrete crushing services. Bid number 32-2022.3, fire rescue uniforms. Bid number 2324-61.1, bulk delivered fuels. Bid number 2324-62.1, tire repair and maintenance services. Bid number 2324-63.1, recycling services.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon.
Yes, Judge. These annual service contract bids are available for renewal for fiscal year 25-26. And after meeting with management from the respective departments, we are recommending renewal for each, given that the services have been rendered to our satisfaction, and rebidding the service would likely result in a price increase. I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
F, award bid number 2425-57, hay harvesting operations.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon.
We received one bid and recommend award to the only responsive bid submitted by Dennis F. Wheatley Services, which results in a 25% harvest yield back to the county. West Davis County Landfill began land farming in 2018 in order to divert water and sludge received from RWRA away from the contained landfill. Before 2018, the composition of the landfill material was 15% sludge, which overloaded the contained landfill with water, which would then, in turn, seep into the gas wells. Hay harvested for the land farming operation is also used on site for erosion control, and excess is sold to the public. Over the last few years, much of the heavy equipment used in this operation has aged and are reaching the end of useful life. Instead of replacing this aging equipment, landfill management would like to pivot from this operation, as harvesting also coincides with peak operational periods for the landfill. With the increased tonnage of waste and the anticipated diversion of CD&D materials to the contained landfill, diverting sludge will no longer be required to reduce water levels in the gas wells. This bid will permit a contractor to harvest the hay and return 25% of the harvest to the county for use for erosion control until such time land farming operations are no longer needed. There were no exceptions to the specification, and I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
G, award bid number 2425-58, permanent continuous operation GPS system.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Ms. Sturgeon?
We received one bid and recommend award to the only responsive bid submitted by SciTech Mid-South for one Trimble R7500 base station in the amount of $23,536. Due to the topography of West Davis County landfill, there is a swath of land that does not receive signal for the GPS equipment occasionally. Currently, there are times when a dozer is unable to receive GPS information, limiting the work it can perform. This unit is a referencing station that provides continuous and permanent real-time positioning information, preventing any lag time in operations. SciTech Mid-South is a known vendor. There were no exceptions to the specification, and I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
H, award bid number 2425-59, one new single-axe dump truck.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second, Ms. Sturgeon?
We received 4 bids and recommend award to the best evaluated bid submitted by Sternberg Ford for one new single-axle dump truck in the amount of $69,967. This unit is a budgeted replacement of an aging unit currently in inventory. Please note, we are not recommending the lowest submitted bid due to exceptions Parks Management found unacceptable. Sternberg Ford is a known vendor. There were no exceptions to the There were minor exceptions to the specification. I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions or comments from the court?
No.
Any questions or comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I, award RFQ number 2425-74, fans and lighting project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second, Ms. Sturgeon?
Yes, Judge, we received 3 quotes and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated quote submitted by Westerfield Electric in an amount of $10,269.50. This is a budgeted project to improve lighting and air circulation to certain areas of the dog runs. Kennels on the far end of the runs have limited lighting and air movement. This project will address those issues. Westerfield Electric is a known vendor. There are no exceptions to the specification, and I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
J, appoint Karen Rose, James Aaron Wilson served 3 terms, to the Oasis Board effective March 1st of 2025 through February 28th of 2028.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Ms. Rose for agreeing to serve on the Oasis Board. Also want to thank Mr. Wilson for his time serving on that board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
K, appoint Allison McFarland, Laura Muhlenberg served 2 terms, to the Airport Board effective March 2nd, 2025 through March 1st of 2029.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Mr. McFarland for agreeing to serve on the Airport Board. I also want to thank Ms. Muhlenberg for her time on the board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Commissioner, would you, nothing? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
L, appoint Dane Holder, Jordan Camp served 4 terms, to the Davis County Property Maintenance Code Board of Appeals effective February 25th of 2025 through February 28th of 2028.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Mr. Holder for agreeing to serve our community in this capacity. I also want to thank Mr. Camp for his tenure on the board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
M, appoint Jordan Johnson, Arnie Cardwell served 2 terms, to the River Park Center Board effective March 1st of 2025 through February 28th of 2028.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, and I want to thank Mr. Johnson for his willingness to serve on this board. I also want to thank Ms. Cardwell for her tenure on the serving our community on the River Park Center Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
N, appoint Tim Klein to the RWRA Board to complete the unexpired term of Dave Johnson, effective March 6th of 2025 through July 1st of 2025.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Mr. Klein for agreeing to serve on the board for RWRA. Also want to thank Mr. Johnson for his tenure on the board. Just for those who may or may not know, Mr. Johnson is an attorney, and I'd been asked, I'm not required to, but RWRA had requested an attorney be appointed. So I want to thank Mr. Klein for agreeing to serve. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
3, consideration for discussion. A, first reading of KOC 921-686, 2025, 03-2025, an ordinance amending text in Article 18 of the Owensboro Metropolitan zoning ordinance.
This is the first reading, so we won't have any vote. But Counselor, if you would read whatever we need to read here for the record.
Yes, sir. So there's 3 whereas clauses. I'll just read those. Whereas on February 13th, 2025, the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission held a public hearing and adopted by regulation zoning ordinance text amendment to Article 18 of the zoning ordinance. Whereas the official transcript of the proceedings at said meeting, including the evidence presented and recommendations of the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission, have been filed with and considered by Daviess County Fiscal Court and is hereby referenced incorporated. And whereas the Daviess County Fiscal Court has carefully reviewed the amendment and finds that the amendment is in conformity with community directions and its amendment, and further finds that the amendment meets the requirements of KRS Chapter 100. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of the County of Daviess, Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Thank you, Counselor. Any questions or comments from the court?
No.
I'll just, for the public, I'm going to read the background section of the text amendments that were sent over. Or, Mr. Howard, why don't you come up and just tell the public why this was sent over to us? This was not initiated by the fiscal court.
Sure, be glad to. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Yes, so the community of Daviess County, Owensboro, and Whitesville participates in a program called the Community Rating System. That's part of the floodplain National Flood Insurance Program. It's a voluntary program that communities can participate in, and agencies like the county engineer, emergency management services, city engineer, our department. There are various things that we can do within the community to earn points towards reduction in flood insurance premiums for the citizens that are required to have flood insurance for their homes. The CRS folks perform an audit, a small audit every year, but then a larger 5-year audit. During the 5-year audit, which took place very recently, we were informed that if one of the statements in the zoning ordinance, which is part of this text amendment, which would allow a manufactured home to be located either 1 foot above the base flood elevation, which is the standard, or 3 feet above ground level, that the best the county, city, we could do as a community would be a 5% discount. Right now, the city's getting a 15% discount. They've earned enough points to do that, and the county's at a 10%. So we felt that it was important that we get this incorporated into the zoning ordinance now, so that for the next 5 years, we don't lose that additional discount on the flood insurance. And then the second is a change from a 50% substantial improvement clause. We reduced that to 49% as far as the amount of reinvestment that you could put in property that's within the floodplain over a 5-year span. That's the 50% in 5 years is the minimum that they require. By dropping it down to 49, we believe that we can earn a few additional points for the community towards improving those discounts for the citizens that have to carry flood insurance. So that's a quick summary. Be glad to answer any questions that you all may have.
Any questions from the court? Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Thank you.
Any questions from the public? Excuse me.
Oh, go on.
Next item.
B, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court. There is none that I'm aware of. C, public comments.
Excuse me, this is a part of the meeting where we didn't mean to get all worked up about that. This is a part of the meeting where we invite the members of the public to come forward, state your name and address for the record, speak to any item other than those items that have been covered on the agenda.
I'm Claudia Ramish. I live at 2215 Bluff Avenue in Owensboro.
I am the president for the Owensboro Daviess County Ministerial Association, and we're here to invite you to the 20th Annual Crop Walk. The Crop Hunger Walk is giving its funds this year to the Patino Shelter. The other funds go to disaster relief and international disaster situations, as well as sustainable farming efforts. The walk is on the Greenbelt on Sunday, March 23rd. We meet at the Grab Building at 2. We step off at 2:30. Harry Padago will be there to offer a prayer before we start. It is a fellowship walk. We do try to raise funds, and if you're interested in participating, all you need to do is come that day and say that you're able to walk.
Thank you. Anyone else? Again, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is James M. Knopfsinger. I live at 2503 Beach Road. And I came today to voice my support for the solar projects. I think it's a good thing. I think that it can benefit all of us in this area, in this county, city, everywhere. I don't always agree with Mr. Condor, but he knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's worked in that field, and I think it would pay a lot of good to listen to him more about how it all works out. The property owners, I understand you look about eyesores and all that, but like, it's solar panels. It's not that big a deal. I mean, as far as people looking at them, and we can nitpick this, kick it down the road all we want, but we're going to scare away the developers, is what I fear. And people have to be comfortable coming in to set up these economic plans and to create the jobs, to create the energy, and to create the relief that we all need. And I just ask you all to really think about it seriously and hopefully in a more quickly manner to get it rolling. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Mike Sullivan, 608 Frederica Street. If you're wondering why I'm just now coming to the podium, it's because I never heard you say you invite anybody for public comments. He didn't either.
I didn't.
Neither did my clients, and neither did a few other people. So we would have spoke then, but we didn't hear it.
Go ahead.
But you know, we respect your decision. But I have to say this: 2 weeks ago, you passed a resolution putting a 12-month moratorium on this. I thought part of that reason was you were going to study it in more detail so you can make informed decisions. And so I don't understand why there was anything other than a moratorium put in the amendment to the ordinance, so that you just have a 12-month moratorium, then you study it, then you make the other amendments. That being said, we respect your decision. We're here to work with you. We're here to share information. We want information from everybody in the community to be brought to you as you make your final and informed decisions in this. So we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, sir. Any other takers? Next item, Brooke.
D, comments by Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. Yesterday being Ash Wednesday, it always reminds us that this is the Lenten season. Not necessarily a season of giving up, but maybe doing more to help your neighbor, to have kind words, to be able to maybe change how we view everyone, not just during this Lenten period, but maybe every day. Hopefully we can learn that and become a better, kinder people. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marksberry.
Thank you, Judge. I just want to say that, you know, the decisions that were made tonight were made very thoughtfully, and there has been some information I've learned in the last week, and so just because it's only been a week or two, that doesn't mean that we can't discover new information. And I just ask that, you know, we have the patience of everyone in the community. Solar panels are a big deal, and decommissioning them is a really big deal. So we've just got to make sure that we do our due diligence, and that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Castleton.
I'm good, Judge. Thanks.
Thank you. I've got a couple things I want to just keep highlighting my effort and the court's effort to help clean up our community. I just want to report that the Daviess County Detention Center crews began picking up trash on February 5, 2025, And it's picked up, I want you to listen closely to this number, 13,740 pounds of trash along our roadways. Folks, that's almost 7 tons. And guess what? They haven't covered a great deal of space. Anyway, I just want to say we can do better, and urge all of you to encourage your neighbors, encourage folks that are in your circle of what they call it, your sphere of influence, to do better. I know some folks are excited about March 7th through 15th is Burger Week. It is $8 for every burger you try. For more details, contact Visit Owensboro at the CBB. You can call 270-926-1100 and get more details. March 8th is International Women's Day. It's a day that celebrates the achievements of women and their progress made toward women's rights. Don't forget, otherwise you'll be late. March 9th is the start of daylight savings time. Begins at 2 a.m. that day. Don't forget to spring forward. March 21 is the Daviess County Fiscal Court free paper shredding event. All Daviess County residents, businesses, and institutions may participate with a limit of 100 pounds per person. The service is provided by Perina Mobile Shredding at the Owensboro Sports Center parking lot. Start time is 10 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. Contact the Daviess County Solid Waste Department if you have any questions. Their number is 270-229-4484. Also want to recognize three students from Daviess County that were named National Merit Finalists and could possibly be named as National Merit Scholars. The students were chosen based on their pre-SAT scores. They are the highest scorers in each of the 50 states, which represents less than 1% of each state's high school seniors. The three students are Nathan Goins, Matthew Dunley, and Sally Tidwell. Congratulations to them and their families. And I just want to say a happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. It's March 17th. That will be past by the time we see one another again. Anything else, Brooke? Without further business, this meeting is adjourned.